Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic. So IDW has announced a new Star Trek comic book series. And so this article that I found by trekmovie.com. So I'll read through the article and give some of my thoughts on this. So the article starts off, IDW announces Star Trek Year 5, exploring the 5th year of Kirk's mission. This morning, IDW, via The Hollywood Reporter, announced a new original series-focused comic book series starting in April. This is the first comic series to focus on TOS since the Year 4 series in 2008. As implied by the title, this series will tell the 5th year of Kirk's 5-year mission. As Starfleet's flagship returns home, the series will investigate how each member of the iconic crew feels about the uncertain future that awaits them as they reach Earth. The series has a planned beginning and game-changing middle and definite end, and will be written by a rotating group of comic book writers including Brandon Easton, Jody Houser, Jim McCann, and the team of Colin Kelly and Jackson Langzon. Kelly and Langzon are writing the opening arc of the series, which will be illustrated by Stephen Thompson. So right off the bat, I don't know any of these writers except for one, and that's Jody Houser. And the fact that she's involved is a little bit of a red flag for me, just because some of the stuff she tweets out, and the only other thing I know her from is from that comic book Faith that she did over at Valiant. So continuing on with the article here, a vital, hard-hitting, character-focused look at Captain Kirk on his last year in command. Kirk's actions in the series will have a huge ripple effects, from the outbreak of a war in the Alpha Quadrant to an unprecedented strain of trust with Spock. We'll turn a mirror on modern society, just as the original television series did in the 1960s, and boldly go towards meaningful and heartfelt stories. So that... I don't know, this paragraph here is a little bit worrisome because just because of the trend of comics now of getting all woke and PC, and IDW is kind of one of those woke companies. So how are they going to treat Kirk that is a straight white male? Are they going to use this as an opportunity to crap all over the character, or you know what I mean? That's what I'm worried about. Are they going to sacrifice the character of Captain Kirk on the altar of intersectional feminism? And when they talk about modern society, is this series just going to be another excuse for them to throw a tantrum because Donald Trump is president? And are we going to bombard it with American politics again in this series in another medium? I highly doubt that they're going to be able to turn a mirror on modern society in the way that the writers of the original series did. I highly doubt they'll be able to pull that one off. Just tell some good Star Trek stories. That's all I'm looking for. I don't want to read a Star Trek story set in the TOS era and it's somehow talking about Trump and Trump supporters and all this kind of stuff, or it's pounding me over the head with intersectionality. So let's move on anyway. The Hollywood Reporter notes that while fans generally assume the animated series is set during those last 5 years of the 5-year mission, Year 5 will be the first stories explicitly set during the time. The first artwork IDW shared with the public is from legendary fantasy and sci-fi illustrator Greg Hildebrandt. This is his first Star Trek related art. So that's the artwork. Actually, that is pretty cool. I like that artwork. That's a really nice painting. So, so a few concerns there, a couple red flags about the series. The fact that IDW is doing it. And now I've never read any of the Star Trek stuff from IDW. I haven't read much from IDW, period. The only thing that IDW put out that I followed and I actually really enjoyed was Rom the Space Knight. But it got canceled after issue 13. And so that's the only thing that IDW ever put out that I liked. But I did read some of the DC Star Trek stuff back in the day, and actually didn't mind it. I thought DC did a good job when they had Star Trek, and they were able to do Star Trek comics, and they did them for quite a few years. And you can see there, like, they had some really good covers. You can see a nice painted one of the Enterprise D there, the Next Generation. And that one in the middle, that Star Trek one with Chekhov on the cover, Chekhov's Choice, that was actually that was the very first Star Trek comic I ever owned. I remember I bought that one off the newsstand, I think at a grocery store or drugstore. And then the other one is another comic that I own. That's another Star Trek one I bought back in the early 90s. And it was basically a storyline about how Captain Kirk met Carol Marcus, and they were set up by Gary Mitchell. Just they developed the storyline from a throwaway line in Star Trek Pilot, the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, where Gary Mitchell tells Kirk that, if I hadn't aimed that little blonde lab tech at you, and then Kirk says, what? He said, you did that? He said, I almost married her. So people kind of then speculated, well, was that lab girl, was that Carol Marcus from Star Trek The Wrath of Khan? So then the DC Comics went and did like a comic book, detailing when Kirk met Carol Marcus, and it was Gary Mitchell that set them up. So it's kind of a neat thing. That's where the comics kind of came in and filled in these little holes here and there with the continuity and stuff. Even though none of it was ever considered canon, it was still kind of nice to read some of these stories. So as for the IDW getting it, I know I'm a little bit skeptical. I don't know if I'll pick it up because I'm not a big fan of IDW stuff. I might maybe browse through it and see what the artwork's like first. Maybe then I might pick it up and see. But let me know what you think in the comments section of this, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.